So in a recent video we explored the 9 key business issues that Microsoft Dynamics 365 for Sales addresses. And what I said we would do is delve into each of those issues and do a separate video on each and just go into the detail how the system's set up to address that particular issue. And the issue we're going to address today is visibility of the pipeline. And I think for a lot of organizations, they really do struggle to have good visibility and good control of their sales pipeline. And I think that has 2 key ramifications. One is they don't have great forecasting, they don't have a great understanding of future business volumes, so they're not able to make the informed business decisions around investment of resources, etc., that they need to make. And secondly, is their conversion rate is lower than it needs to be. Their conversion of the opportunities they have is lower. And conversion rates are highly leveraged. Even small changes in conversion rate can have a really big impact on bottom line profitability. So I think the issue for a lot of organizations is that they do their sales forecasting, such as they tend to do it in separate spreadsheets. And I think that is the source of a range of issues that, if they were to do that within Dynamics, would get resolved. So let's delve into that a little bit. So bearing in mind, people are typically going to be using spreadsheets. I'm in the opportunities area at the moment. I'm specifically in a opportunity record. Now, obviously within a spreadsheet, there's kind of limited number of columns I can usefully have in the spreadsheet without having to scroll and scroll and scroll, and a limited amount of data I can have in any given column without it kind of getting very difficult to manage. So in terms of my opportunity record here, I can have unlimited fields if I wanted to. I've got various fields here on the left, but if I wanted to have more fields, I could put in more tabs across the top here. This is highly configurable, so I can have whatever records I want in there. So there is no limit in terms of the amount of data I could track if I want to. It's a much more flexible platform to do that than it is within an Excel spreadsheet. But I've got lots of other data dimensions, and a spreadsheet, not necessarily an Excel one, any spreadsheet is quite one-dimensional. We can't really understand lots of associated information. So what sort of associated information might we want to see? Well, certainly we want to see something like a timeline. In other words, we're working on an opportunity and all sorts of actions take place. That could be meetings, that could be phone calls, that could be tasks, that could be emails we've sent, emails we've received. What I can do is attach all of those activities to my opportunity record. So if I go into a record, I can instantly see the history of what's gone on in the past. Now, that's incredibly difficult to do in a spreadsheet. You can kind of put some keynotes in a cell, but you're not going to get the depth of information you can track through an opportunity record with its associated data. I've also got here, you can see I've not got any information on it, but I've got information about stakeholders, so we can understand who it is on our customer side that's involved in a decision and be able to link to their particular records. I can see the sales team, our sales team, who's involved with what role. I can see what competitors are involved. I can track products against an opportunity. I can see all the products that we're looking at potentially selling. I can look at quotations against an opportunity, so all the quotes that we've raised against an opportunity. I can see files against an opportunity. Again, not something you can do within a spreadsheet. I can see in my files area, I haven't got anything set up there. So effectively what Dynamics allows us to do is have this multi-dimensional view of an opportunity. We can understand the entirety of that opportunity record and all the different dealings with it and all the different associated data with it. It allows us to get a much better understanding and be able to manage that opportunity better. So that's a dimension of just better dimensions in terms of data we're going to track than you can within a spreadsheet. The second area is we can sort of really control what people do. Now, probably what the biggest area for doing that is this business process flow entity at the top here, entity function or piece of functionality. And you can see what it's got here is it's mapping out the various stages. And these are the out-of-the-box ones, but you can obviously tune that to your particular needs. And you can see that we've got each of these stages has a little sort of indicator on it. This one, I've qualified this opportunity, so that's ticked. If I want to see what data we're tracking against it, I can just click on that. I can see the underlying data. So it's effectively saying to me, Richard, this is the sort of information you need to have gathered at this stage. If I go on to develop, you can see what it's telling me is the information I need to have at that stage. So it can start to sort of push me through the sales cycle and guide me to do the things I need to be doing. But more importantly, what we can do is actually make fields mandatory. Not mandatory in the sense of I can't create a record unless I populate a particular field, but mandatory in the sense of I can't move from one stage to another unless that is populated. So we can get some real control of our data. The other thing we can do is just with these fields, we can have a variety of different fields. We can have pick lists, we can have multi-select pick lists, we can have fields of a certain length, small free text fields, large free text fields. You've got much better ability to control what data is tracked against our opportunity record. The third reason for looking at doing it within Dynamics is it's real time. Typically, if we're forecasting in spreadsheets, we maybe sending those in on a monthly basis, maybe a weekly basis, and then somebody's got to consolidate all that information. It's not real time, but within Dynamics it is real time. As soon as anybody makes a change, that change is reflected in the system, that change is reflected in the forecasting and the reporting. You're working with a live real-time environment. The fourth reason Dynamics addresses this issue of pipeline visibility is it gives you a load of tools in order to help sellers manage, and sellers and sales managers manage these opportunities more effectively. And so we talked about that sort of guidance using the business process flow. But you can see here I've got a series of tasks that have been initiated by the system using the area of sequences. So I can set up a sequence of activities that are assigned to an opportunity. That can happen automatically, or I as a manager could perhaps assign a sequence to a particular opportunity. Very good for perhaps new salespeople, just to give them the guidance they need to move through the sales process effectively. I can have automatic routing of opportunities to the relevant salespeople. So using various different criteria, we can have automated allocation of opportunities. I can have opportunity scoring. I haven't got it switched on here, but I can have the system score opportunities based on various criteria, just telling me which are the ones that are most likely to close, and just give me some guidance on things I might be missing, things I need to be doing. So that's a very powerful capability. Within our opportunity timeline area, we can use standard templates to make sure that we're sending out the right data. And, I've got this whole concept of sales literature, so we can have a library of useful sales literature like pricing and case studies and white papers, anything we need, any collateral we need instant access to. So that can be a very powerful way of making sure that salespeople are as effective as they possibly can be. So we've got that wide range of tools available to us. The other thing the system allows us to do much better than, when you're trying to work with spreadsheets, is we can manage long-term opportunities much better. Now, the problem with long-term opportunities is they frequently get lost. If they don't close here and now, they drop off the bottom of the spreadsheet, or we have a new salesperson join, the old one leaves, everybody forgets about that old opportunity. But, opportunities don't close instantly. Some might take 6 months, 12 months, 24 months, years in some cases before they eventuate. A lot of organizations lose visibility of them. So within this, we can create a closed loop. We can effectively say, no one can delete unless you're an administrator an opportunity record. Once it's in the system, it's going to stay in the system. We're going to be able to monitor that. We know exactly what's happening with it, who's working with it, and therefore we can manage it and make sure that it's always allocated to somebody and it's being followed up. The other thing we can do is make opportunities part of a journey. We can track that whole process from a lead coming in through to it being qualified, turned into an opportunity, through to quotation, through to order, through to invoice. That end-to-end process can actually be managed within the CRM system, and that can be a very powerful tool. Also, when we're managing opportunities within CRM, rather than in a separate spreadsheet that only the salespeople can see, then that shared visibility of data can be really powerful, so that anybody looking at a customer record or potential customer record, they can see there's ongoing opportunities there and they understand better the context about dealing with that particular organization. The other element is security. In spreadsheets, it's easy for data to get deleted, for data to get lost, for data to get corrupted, for somebody to accidentally sort all the data and it becomes a complete and utter nightmare to deal with. Little control as to who can see what in many cases. Whereas you've got that security model built into Dynamics to be able to limit what people can do with data, who can see what, and we know it's just not going to disappear from the system. Finally, I guess the powerful thing that Dynamics offers is the ability to give you all the analytics that you need in order to manage these things effectively. So if I go to the opportunities area, I can see I've got all these different views in the system. These are system views. I can create my own personal views. I can build whatever filters I want. I can display whatever columns I want. I can store those for myself. I can share those with my colleagues. I've also got the ability to use system dashboards or create my own dashboards. So I've pretty much got unlimited means of accessing and using the data within the system. So it's very powerful management information. Now, all of this means that as a salesperson, I've got the tools that allow me to sell more effectively. As a sales manager, it gives me much better visibility and understanding of the deals my team are working on. It allows me to coach them more effectively. This means we get much better conversion rates, and we're going to get the visibility of those longer term opportunities. Again, that flows through to conversion rate. And all of this information means we can start to forecast more effectively, and the business can start to make better decisions moving forward. Anyway, hopefully that's helpful. Just walks you through addressing the issue of pipeline visibility within Microsoft Dynamics 365 for sales. This is one in a range of videos that we've done, so feel free to check out the rest of the channel. If you are using Dynamics and feel you'd like to get a little bit more out of it, and you want a bit of help and guidance in terms of moving forward, then feel free to reach out, put some links in the description below. Always happy to have a chat with people about their particular situation. Anyway, thank you very much for your time today. Hopefully see you again soon.